Okay, go.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Syahir bin Muhammad Nuruddin from 3BEY Section 2. So today I want to give a simple briefing about application pneumatics. So here we go. First, add a filling system plastic cans with wall and ceiling paint. After filling, lids are pressed onto the plastic bucket. Second, plastic pellet need to be packed from a storage silo. The silo is open and closed with a flap. The process will be start from two locations. Third, numerous parts have to be opened and closed in a water treatment system with the help of shut-off component. During the test setup, an actuation option for the shut-off valve will be solved. Okay, here we go to single acting cylinder. One port where pressure air enter in one direction. Then a spring or a rod is usually fit to the piston. This single acting cylinder is once air is clean and compressed, it enter through the single port, forcing the piston to extend in one direction, compressing the spring. Lastly, the spring or another external force will retract the piston back to its original position after release air through the same port where it originally entered. So here we can see the push type cylinder, position 1, position 2, and pull cylinder, this position. So we can see air enter to push the piston out of the cylinder, while pull type cylinder, air enter to pull the piston inside of the cylinder. Okay, that's all for single acting cylinder. I go to my group member, Amir Rafiq.
Okay, for the next one is the single active pneumatic cylinder. This is the advantage and disadvantages. Okay, so the advantage of this single acting is the design is very simple and easy to install, and the cost is low of initial process, and this single active pneumatic is a single port and small housing, and reduction in valve and piping cost compared to double acting cylinder. So the disadvantage of the single acting pneumatic cylinder is compressed air require proper preparation, and the spring take too much space and limits working area, and it can reduce thrust due to the opposing spring force. With prolonged spring usage, piston stroke and become inconsistent. Okay, for the next is a double acting pneumatic cylinder. So this double acting cylinder are a useful application when your machine require more than one movement. And this double also acting cylinder can extend and retract without the need of a spring. So this double acting doesn't need a spring. Instead of applying pressure air into one port, double acting cylinder have two ports where air can either enter in and out. So these double acting cylinder are the most widely used pneumatic actuator compared to single acting cylinder, given the ability to extend and retract within a shorter time period, thus becoming more efficient and precise than a single acting pneumatic cylinder. Okay, for the next one is okay, this is the advantages and disadvantages of double acting pneumatic cylinder. So the advantages is more control over movements since pressurize and move both way. So the double acting is more faster, stronger and use less energy. And this double acting offer more design variation, stroke and bore size. Many double acting pneumatic cylinder are ISO compliant and opposed to single pneumatic cylinder. So the disadvantages of acting pneumatic cylinder is more costly than single pneumatic cylinder. Require a bigger housing. If used as a feed cylinder, it needs to be coupled with another machine system. In certain situations, air consumption may be calculated at different rates. Okay, that's all for our briefing about basic application pneumatic.
Thank you, Amirul. So next, I will proceed to the fluid sim software simulation. So for me, I will be simulate about the single acting cylinder. So this is the diagram of the single acting cylinder. So as for this diagram, I will explain about it. For the first one is single acting cylinder, and for this one is the flow control valve, and for this one is a three-way valve, and for the triangle is the compressed air. So the compressed air will be supply the air through the valve, as the valve will be have two way to control it. For this valve will be controlled by the button, and next the air will pass through the control valve, and the control valve we can control uh, the pressure. So the single acting cylinder will can move much slower or faster according to the gas that we set. So next I will run the simulation. So you can see the compressed air has been supplied to the valve, and you press the button. So as we press the button, the gas pass through the cylinder, and the cylinder has extend. As we unclose unpress the button, the acting cylinder retract back to its original position. Next, I will pass through to Imran to elaborate much more about the double acting cylinder.
Um, First, we use the double acting cylinder, and for the valve, we use the five-way valve, and then at the five entry we have the exhaust, and lastly the compressed air. At the five-way valve, we will put the button for manual control. Then uh, when we run, the uh, the piston we extend, and the air we actuate, and when we press again, the piston will retract, and the air will back to the origin. Okay, that's all.
So I think that's all from my group. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Moy. Settle kan?